In Get Rich Carefully, I talk about 3 defining tech trends that will keep making a big splash, maybe for years to come: mobile, social, and the cloud. The first two, mobile and social, well, they're really easy to get your head around because most people interact with them on a daily basis. But cloud computing is more complicated. It's a vast opportunity. However, it's not really geared toward the consumer necessarily. Mainly, it's about helping companies save money, which makes it harder for most people to understand. There is a ton of money to be made in the cloud, though, so I don't want you to be put off just because it's less accessible than smartphones, social media. With that in mind, consider Marketo, MKTO. That's a cloud-based marketing software firm that came public last May and soared 77% on its first day of trading. Marketo lets its clients, its customers streamline and even automate their marketing decisions, while also helping them build long-term relationships with their customers, including through social media. Stock has already given us a huge win. It's up 85% since we first spoke to the CEO back in June. It's rallied 24% since our last interview in August. Now, Marketo reported 2 weeks ago. Stock got dinged in response, falling 3.7% the next day, larger than expected loss, and a forecast that indicated more losses down the road. However, this is important. Listen, with a young, fast-growing company like Marketo, earnings are much less important than investing money to keep growing the business. What matters here is revenue growth, and Marketo has that up the wazoo. Company's revenues came in better than expected, up 67% year over year, not to mention an 85% increase in billings, 100% rise in deferred revenue, maybe the most important metric out there. So is the stock worth buying on this recent pullback? Let's check in with Phil Fernandez. He's Marketo's chairman and CEO. Hear more about the sector and where his company's headed. Mr. Fernandez, welcome back to Mad Money.
Hey, Jim.
Thank you so much, Phil. Good to see you.
Yeah.
All right, now, all day I've been wrestling, the last couple of days, I've been wrestling with the idea of opportunity and revenue versus the need to be profitable at some point in the future. How are you making the balance right now?
Well, right now we look at where we're spending money and all of the expenses that are driving the comments you just made are about investing in sales and marketing. If we look at how G&A or R&D or other parts of the business are trending towards a long-term profitable model, it's all right on track. But right now, when people are buying from us, we think what everyone wants is just to build the biggest business we can as fast as we can, and so we're investing in sales and marketing.
Okay, so I want people to understand, in other words, if you chose to slow down, you could be profitable, but you may be missing a bigger land grab out there, and that would constrain your growth if you decided to show profitability right now.
Exactly. The beautiful thing about a business like ours is that all of our revenue is recurring revenue. It's subscription, and we retain 100% of it every year. So every time we put new revenue on the board, it's not just for this year, but next year and next year. And so if you do the model, the cash leverage, the profitability leverage from that base is big if we can just keep growing.
And we talked about the idea of the cloud and how, some people just say, for instance, we're talking to Domino's, you go on your Facebook page, you order Domino's, but you do some things for Four Seasons hotels, for instance. Where would you be in the chain of how I interact with Four Seasons when I stay there?
Well, so what we do for Four Seasons is commercial sales, where they're selling to event planners and other people in that specific case. And so what they're trying to do is make sure that when anybody's planning a corporate event, they choose a Four Seasons hotel or resort rather than something else. So we help them be found, help them promote why they're the best, and help them ultimately close those transactions.
Okay, and you talk about the Marketo Dialogue edition and very major upgrade to personalized email capabilities. And the first thing I read that I say, holy cow, I get a lot of email and I send it to my junk file. How do I know not to be junk file with Marketo?
Well, when I said personalized email capabilities, so what we do is not send some big blast to 100,000 people. It's when you do something that's relevant, we might send you a message just for you, one just for you, not to anybody else but you. And that's a very different way to use email.
Just to me?
Just to you.
And so that can be done economically?
It can, because we're able to watch what you and everybody else like you are doing on the web, in social media, in email, in a store, wherever you might be, using analytics to understand what it means and finding the right time and only the right time to say something specifically to you. That's the power of our platform, is that personal connection we can build.
Now, I know you've got a big event, the Marketo Marketing Nation User Summit, April 7th to 9 in San Francisco, and I know that GE is speaking there. So you've got to help me. Beth Comstock, I know, are a terrific marketing officer, but at the same time, I heard Jeff Immelt speak at Salesforce, and they bought this Pardot, part of ExactTarget. Is GE willing to use Marketo and Salesforce?
Yeah, absolutely. They're using both. Salesforce is their standard in their sales team, and we're the standard in their marketing organization. And I think that's what we see in a lot of different places where the marketer is choosing the product that best helps them do their job. And they identify Marketo as that. We integrate so well in the cloud. It's part of one of the many beauties of the cloud is we integrate seamlessly with the other products they use, like Salesforce, so they can have their cake and eat it too.
And the last thing you need to know is, I mean, you've been adding customers like mad. Is it finite, or there's just so many companies that don't know how to do what you do that they have to turn it over to you?
Well, you know, ultimately, what we do is we help marketers work with email, web, Facebook, you know, on and on, Twitter, et cetera, and, you know, name a company that's not exposed to those trends, right? And so you look at the size of the market, you know, it's just vast, it's immense, it's huge, and I think there's just unlimited growth ahead.
Yeah, and I think the companies themselves don't know how to do it.
And they don't know how to do it, and so part of our brand is not just great technology and innovation, but to be that wise guide that helps customers actually figure out how to use this stuff.
You've been a very successful wise guy. Thank you for thank you for making people who bought the stock, because they know I'm excited about it, so much money. Phil Fernandez, Chairman and CEO of Marketo. Look, guys, this is a revenue growth stock, not a profit story. Understand that, and you'll understand Marketo. Stay with Cramer.
Coming up, technical test. As we hover near all-time highs, there's one thing Cramer's watching to determine the next move in the market. Find out what it is just ahead.